Hi, everybody. It is Craig and Robert back with your hey, college basketball is back. Yes. What's the yes and it counts? Which announcer is that?
It is good. I'm watching the St. Bonaventure Bradley game over here. Real quick shout to YouTube. I know we're live on it, but just dropping the ball so hard early on. The feed cut out with about 6 minutes left to go in the first half of the St. Bonaventure game. The whole second half they broadcast with no time, no clock. So you have no idea how much time is left. So it's like 65-62 right now. And it might be 48 seconds left, or it might be 8 seconds left. I don't know. So, and the number on this game was like 4.5. So the chat has been pretty funny in that game, but it's been a great game.
Yeah, college basketball's back and better than ever. Like as far as bettors are concerned, I mean, absolutely chaos. You think March Madness was chaos the last few seasons? The start of college basketball will be chaos. We'll get to that here. But don't forget, if you're new to Docs Daily, all you got to do to get a free $60 account is click this or use this URL, or the link is in the description, I do believe. And you can get a free $60 account parked in your account so that you can try out Robert, myself, or any of the other Docs experts. You can use it towards $30 as one of our get a day pass of, say, college hoops or NBA or whatever your sport is. Or you can use it towards a longer-term pass if you like. Like you want to buy a week pass of college basketball from Robert, you just pay the difference of the $39. So make sure you use that. Of course, if you're new and you haven't purchased the YouTube Premium products we have, it's just an extra way to get all of our extra plays. Level 1 is Lenny. Level 2 is Indian Cowboy. And level 3, you get a bunch of different Docs experts. And the link is in the description to get in. It's anywhere from $4.99 up to $49.99, and that's per month, so it's a heck of a deal. All right, Robert, how many plays? Let me guess, because I didn't look at everybody's plays yet because my mom's in the hospital, so I'm dealing with 18 things. I'm literally like juggling, trying to catch everything, but nothing serious. It's just, my brother's out of town, so I'm responsible for this next 5 days. I'm guessing the over-under on college basketball plays from you is 8 today. Am I right? Or over or under?
It is double that. I ended up with 16. And I cut a few too. I was surprised too. Like when I was looking at the card last Tuesday and Wednesday, I was like, can I pass? Can I pass on day one? I don't think I can pass. But I have 16 plays. One of them's a 7-unit play. Okay, but total 31 units on the board. So if you take out that top play, I got 15 plays for 24 total units. So they're all like 1 and 2 unit plays. They're not a bunch of big plays. I'm not ready for that. There is one game that I love, one game that I think is going to be a goddamn bloodbath. And so I'm taking a shot with that, but the rest of it just kind of nibbling around the edges. I see another big play for Wednesday. I'm going to have a 7-unit play on Wednesday. And then I see another potential, maybe 5-unit play on Sunday. I already know what the numbers are going to be, so I'm not worried about that. And yeah, I'm ready to fire away.
Yeah, I think this is people are, in good, bad, or indifferent, I guess. You can argue if you like it or you don't. There's certain people that don't like the transfer portal. Certain people don't like the NIL. And I mean, it's here to stay. Like they might adjust like how many times you can transfer without without having to sit out. But other than that, I mean, there's going to be mass chaos most years for all sports, including college basketball. But I do think there's some good matchups today. We'll get into some of those. We'll also talk a little. We got Monday Night Football tonight, of course. I don't love this game on Monday Night Football, and I do like a little prop, but I didn't like the side or total a ton. And then, of course, the NBA's got a big card, 9 games tonight in NBA and 4 in NHL. So tons of stuff out there.
It's that time of year, right? It's that time of year.
Yeah, for the next 4, basically till Thanksgiving, we've got the confluence of every sport. Obviously, Major League Baseball stepped off with what a series, by the way. Yeah. I mean, like someone said to me the other day on YouTube, like on the comment, like, can we just play like this all year round for baseball? Where it's just like, I mean, because it was recency is always the bias, but like
that was as good as it gets. For
I mean, I can't remember going back now. I'm 50. I can't remember a better World Series as far as game in, game out. Like you just didn't know. I mean, heck, going into the 9th inning, it looked like the Blue Jays were going to win the World Series, and then and we've seen that through the whole series. So what a series! And then of course CFL. I know you don't love CFL. We got some CFL. We'll be talking that towards later in the week as the Grey Cup is in the semifinals, I believe. Yes, believe. All right, let's talk college basketball. Let's kick us off here, Robert, though. I want to get your opinion. I had a free play. I did not have any premium plays today. This would have been it if I was going to give it out. I was going to have I was going to take Villanova with Willard taking over. I think he did a great job at Seton Hall. Now, I didn't quite get him to the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't it's not like they were in the Final Four or something, but it just looked like he was putting the pieces together and continued. I think it's a much different program. I mean, you have a much better chance at Villanova, in my opinion, than they do at Seton Hall. So, what do you like this game? I liked, I'll just get it out of the way. I like the points. I just think it's way too many points. I think that DJ, I can't even pronounce his name.
AJ DiBanza.
Yeah. I think he's the real deal as far as talent is concerned. Now, can you carry a team? Because to win by double digits, which is what they would have to do to cover this, I think that's asking too much. I think this Kevin Will, I love that Grand Canyon transfer that he got, the guard. I liked that kid last year. I thought, unfortunately, Grand Canyon takes a big loss there, but I think he's going to have a big year in the Big East. What do you like in this one?
I did a free play on this game as well. Did a video that you can go watch, but I won't give you what I gave away in the total in that in case you want to go watch it. But I'm with you. I like Villanova. I ended up talking myself into using this as a 1-unit rated play. I think BYU is grossly overrated. Okay, they are a good team. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of talent there. I like what Kevin Young is doing out there, but they are overrated. They are not one of the top 10 teams in the country. They are not a legitimate national title contender. And I think them being ranked 8th, this number opened at 7.5, steamed up to 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 10. I don't know anybody who's grabbing Villanova action in this game. But my thing with BYU is they have the talent advantage. Okay. They got Rob Wright, the transfer from Baylor, averaged about 11.5 points per game. They have AJ DiBanza. I'm going to have to learn to say that. He's going to be an NBA lottery pick, so I got to learn to say that, right? Who looked very good in the exhibitions. He's one of the top freshmen in the country. And then you have Richie Saunders, who was the leading scorer last year, averaged about 16.5. The problem is I just named 3 guys that all kind of want to be the guy, right? And how is that chemistry going to come together early in the season? Villanova is not going to be very good this year. Okay, like Devin Askew, who is like 37 years old. I swear to God, this guy has been in college for like 12 years. He might end up being their best player. That's not a good thing. But Kevin Willard teams, they defend, they play hard, and they're going to get after it for a full 40 minutes. So I don't like Villanova long-term this year. I love Willard. He is 100% going to rebuild that Villanova program. I don't know why they ever hired Kyle Neptune. Like Kyle Neptune, he was the guy that got after Jay Wright, retired. Kyle Neptune sucked at Fordham. Like he wasn't doing anything at Fordham. And then they brought him in, weird hire. Willard's going to be great, just not this year. They're just not very good. But on a neutral court with a BYU team that's kind of figuring some things out, I agree with you. I think it's a lot to ask for them to just roll out the ball and blow out, a Big East team.
I think a lot of the BYU, not just, of course, they obviously getting when you get the best or one of the best players to go to BYU, it makes people open their eyes. But they have big money. They're spending big in NIL right now. They've got one donor, I forget his name. But he's basically right. It's kind of like the Phil Knight for Oregon, where he's like, hey, you can go get whoever, at least try. You're in the
that Mormon money runs pretty deep, man. It runs.
Well, it's one guy right now. It's the guy that's something to do with the Jazz, right? He has a really big company, and I think he's a part owner of maybe even the Jazz. So he's got big money, and he's willing to spend it. When it's like that in basketball, that makes a big difference because 3 guys, you can go get top 3, 2 or 3 guys, and then put a nice little supporting cast. You can compete in college hoops. Remember how great they were last year, but they weren't like highly ranked at the beginning of the year. They kind of proved it throughout the year. It's the opposite this year. And sometimes, when you're the hunted instead of the hunter, much different deal to deal with. So it'll be interesting.
They were older last year. They had an older team. They had a bunch of veteran guys that were like 23, 24 years old, guys who were in like their 5th year of college, stuff like that. We're now Wright is a sophomore. DeBance is a freshman. Okay, Saunders is a little older guy, and he's still going to be the alpha dog. Kobe Keita, the big man, underneath there. I think he'll be kind of a stabilizing force, but they don't have the same level of depth that they did last year, and they don't have the same level of experience. And you sacrifice that and say, okay, but we have more talent and more athleticism. But how will that play out? But again, the bottom line is BYU is very good, and DeBanza might be as good as everybody thinks he is. I got to see it first, number one. And number two, they're not the 8th best team in the country. Like, they're ranked up there based on air and on hype, but they're going to be a team to bet against, I feel like, or at least find some value betting against until they find their level.
So this game is at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The first game there, I believe it's the first game of the night, right?
Yes,
is
Florida and Arizona.
Is the Florida-Arizona game. I think that is a fascinating game because
yeah.
Florida obviously lost some talent, but they were deep last year. I mean, they were loaded, as deep as any team in the country, and I think they're going to be really, really good again. Arizona, I kind of was shocked that this line wasn't a little higher just because, Florida was so good. Didn't they cover all 6 games in the tournament?
Yes.
So
I think they didn't cover their first one and then covered the rest of them. They won 12 straight games. They've won 6 straight openers. And to your point, they lost their 3 best guards, but they brought back all 4 of their top forwards. And that was really the strength of the team. Last year was Condon, Haw, Ruben Chinleyu was the other guy, and they just wore people out on the inside, and that's what they're going to try and do again. They lose the guards, but they bring in Boogie Fland from Arkansas, who looked great early last year. Then he got hurt and just never really reached his ceiling. But Boogie Fland is going to be great. Like, the matchup between him and Jaden Bradley, he's a senior point guard for Arizona. That's going to be outstanding because Jaden Bradley is one of those guys. Maybe he's an NBA player, maybe he's not, but he is a great college player and great college point guard. So he is going to be very good. Arizona has some freshmen. And the big thing about it is we mentioned the 3 big men for Florida. Well, Arizona has Monches Krivizis, I think that's how you pronounce his name. 7'2" center who was awesome 2 years ago, hurt his leg in like the 3rd or 4th game last year and was out for the season. He is back. He is healthy. They got another big rugged power forward down there. So, like, they're going to bang. They match up. Arizona matches up very well with this Florida team. I give Florida a little bit of an advantage because Arizona's, outside of the 4 guys that are going to be starting that are upperclassmen, really young. The rest is freshmen. Like, when Arizona goes to the bench, kind of don't know what you're going to get. So slight edge on Florida. But no, if this number gets up near like 4.5, if it climbs, absolutely take Arizona.
Yeah, I think Florida will win the game. I actually think it could be one of those they win but don't cover.
Right.
The line's 3.5, and you're seeing pretty equal money. That tells you early in the year you can get a lot of steam. I kind of thought Florida would because people remember what they bet last. What did they win with? And Florida ran through the SEC tournament. I think they covered all those games as well, which remember how great the SEC was last year. I think it's
13 teams.
But like I think people remember that. So I thought Florida, but we have not seen the number move. So it tells me that we're getting a lot of Arizona money coming out there. So, and I don't know if you've ever been in Vegas. I've been to Vegas a million times, and Arizona plays there a lot. Obviously, the tournaments there, I've been out there for the Pac-12 tournament a bunch, or just out there in general. And so I'm at MGM, and you just see the ridiculous Arizona fans show up in big droves. So I think they'll have a ton more fans, and then maybe that's what people are betting out there is all the Florida fans in town, the Arizona fans in town betting their team. So interesting matchup though.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Like I said, the number's holding hard at 3.5 right now. But to your point, looking at the betting, it is very much skewed to Arizona. About 75% of the action coming in on Arizona. A lot of money line action in there. I think that's a great value play on them at plus money as well. But it should be an awesome game. And we've seen, a lot of these teams have had exhibition games against other top tier teams. That's been a new thing that happened for the first time this year. So instead of going in and warming up against IU Indianapolis, like Ohio State is or something like that, these teams have played other big time programs already, and now they're getting ready to throw blows, to top 10 teams. Like that's what I'm saying. Arizona's ranked 13th. They would hammer BYU if they played them today. Like if the games were flipped, Arizona might be an underdog or be close to a pick or whatever. Arizona would kill BYU, but they're ranked lower than them. That just goes back to my point of BYU being overrated.
The good thing about the early rankings, I think, matter in college football because it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard to jump the teams that were already, like that mindset of the voters. But in college basketball, you have so many games, it doesn't really matter. In fact, as a handicapper, I kind of look for that where it's like teams that I feel like probably overranked, and thus when it's overranked, they're overbet, and usually the line is probably a point or two too high. And like you said, that's where we get the value in that BYU game. So I would lean towards Arizona in this one, FYI, but I'm not going crazy because this Florida team is just, they were so good to me last year. I think I had them all 3 games in the SEC tournament. I think they covered. And I know I had them in both of the Final 4 games. So, when a team's that good to you, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I used them. I used them for 1 unit. I don't feel great about it now. I probably should have used Arizona in a teaser. Would have been probably the smarter play. But, it's 1 unit. It's opening night. And I'm with you. I'm going to defer to Florida's experience and their depth a little bit over Arizona with the home court and maybe in the points.
And just so people know, times are a-changing in college hoops. It used to be I would bet a lot of coaches. Like, I always thought that the really experienced coaches mattered. Dude, those coaches are not around anymore. Bruce Pearl, another guy that is retired and sounds like might run for Senate,
Right.
I guess, Senate seat, but his son took over.
He's slimy enough to be a politician.
Would be a perfect fit. So we're going to see a lot more veteran coaches. Sampson of Oklahoma is already talked about, and so is Calipari. Like, it's so transactional now that they don't really, which is funny that Calipari is complaining about that.
Right,
when Calipari, the one and done king, is the one complaining.
Exactly. I don't take a word he says seriously.
But at Sampson, look what that team was last year. He's having to play the game. It's kind of like Dabo Sweeney. Dabo Sweeney did not want to play the transfer and the
right.
NIL.
That's why you're not any good.
And thus, look what has happened. Sampson has adjusted. He's like, all right, I got to do it. And he's been very successful. I think they're actually going to be really good again this year. So FYI, be careful with just betting the coaches because they're harder to find. Look what Golden did at Florida. Like, I don't think he's an unbelievable coach, great recruiter. Obviously, he was great during the tournament. I give him that. But I think it's really about the players more than ever before. So,
to your point, one of the coaches that I'm backing today, and it's purely just a play on the coach, is I actually took Massachusetts over Marshall. So there's a little free play for you at 7:00. And just because Frank Martin, the coach at Massachusetts, he was at Kansas State for all those years, he was at South Carolina. He's just a hard ass.
Yeller, came from the Bob Huggins.
Yeah, just real hard ass, hard nosed, tough, defensive minded. He's going to have his guys ready to play tonight. It's a home game. He went out and brought in a bunch of transfers. And he actually brought in a bunch of transfers that could score, 2 junior college kids that averaged over 20 points a game, 2 mid-major kids that both averaged over 16 points a game. So his identity is more defense and kind of grind it out, punch you in the face. But he has a little bit of scoring punch. So even though there's a lot of new pieces in Massachusetts, which I did not even realize this until I started doing my research for the season. Massachusetts left the A-10. They're in the MAC now. They went down.
They did it for football. FYI.
Yeah, it's insane that like they're in the MAC. Like I'm trying to flip around to find their page in their preview magazine, and I'm like, why are they not in the Atlantic 10 anymore? What's happening? Yeah. But I like him. And one of the things that I'm going to be looking at, particularly this first week, is so we've seen the talent flow upwards, right? Like if you're a mediocre mid-major player, you transfer to a Big Ten school or something like that, right? It used to be just like if you were an all-MAC first teamer, or if you were like freshman of the year in the Horizon, you could transfer to a bigger school. Now it's like if you were the 6th man averaging 9 points, they got a spot for you in West Virginia, okay? So all the talent went upward. Consolidating power in the major 4 conferences. Are they going to cover those numbers, though? Those big 26, 27, 32. Alabama's a 35.5 point favorite today. Tennessee is a 27.5 point favorite. Are the teams at the top of college basketball now just so good and so much more dominant than these lower major schools that they're just winning these games by 30 and 40 points? Are the books going to adjust to that? That's one of the things that I'm looking for in this first week.
I'm here. If I was a mid-major coach like Frank Martin is, I wouldn't try to go after a lot of transfers. I would be like going after 3 and 4 unit star recruits and be like, listen, you're going to sit on the bench at Kentucky and
Right.
Go down the list because look at all the
I'm
veterans.
down here and average 18 points a game.
And then you'll be able to go the next year. You'll transfer wherever you want and get whatever NIL you want. Sitting on the bench at Kentucky or Cincinnati, or you just go down the list of any Power 4 conference, isn't going to help you getting 5 minutes a game. But if you come here, and these teams play, it's not like college football where you don't get to play the top teams until the conference starts. You're playing, you could go play in these tournaments, especially if you had a good team. You could go play in a tournament and maybe beat up on some of these teams. So that's what I would go to. I do like UMass. It was I gave it out as one of the premium plus plays today. So it's from a different expert other than you.
Did you now? Nice.
A guy that, let's just say, doesn't give out a lot of plays. That probably gives you maybe a hint who it might be.
And we got a lot of one play a day guys, but the
least amount of plays of that.
Last thing I was going to say is, I think I mentioned this stat last week in Conference USA this year. There are 12 teams in Conference USA. There are 11 returning starters across the whole conference. Okay. Like Florida International went 10-23 last year, 3-15 in conference. All 5 of their starters transferred. Like, where are these guys going? You know what I mean? Like, who wants kids from a team that bad? Like, Western Kentucky, 0 returning starters. Sam Houston, 0 returning starters. New Mexico State, UTEP, 0 returning starters.
I did hear a stat, Robert, that one of these teams, I forget who it was. I should have freaking wrote it down. The whole starting, they're all transfers. And they don't get a lot of NIL, but they're all getting brand new cars. It was like a car dealership, like
awesome.
Sponsors, all got brand new cars. So I'm like, dude, if you're a kid that's at FIU, say you're the 5th player, you're not probably getting any NIL money. And someone says, hey, I tell you, you come here, you get a brand new Range Rover, $100,000 car. That's that's something for a kid.
Sure, they don't tell them that it's a lease though, and they only get it for
while they're there. But hey, you're rolling around town. If you're a kid, that's kind of fun. So I do think the world's changing. You got to be careful out there today. So just be, be smart. Don't be going out there betting your mortgage payment on any team, because we will not know until we see these teams play for probably 2 or 3 games how things kind of settle in. Are the numbers sharp? I just don't know. I used to be able to. I had a feel. In the old college basketball from 20 years of doing this, if a number was sharp or not, I have no clue. I don't know if Florida, that 3.5, is that sharp number on Arizona? I don't know. I don't really have a feel, because there's so much. Now, Florida has a little less than most teams, but most teams have just so much movement that I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is going to be one of the most challenging college basketball seasons from a betting perspective that we've ever had to deal with, frankly. And not for nothing, not sitting here trying to push people to us or to buy our packages or whatever. But this is why guys like you and I exist, frankly, right? Like we're looking at this stuff where we're spending every day poring over numbers, reading reports, watching games and stuff like that. And we're sitting here being like, I don't know, man. I don't know how this team's going to look or how that team's going to look. The public has no chance right now, frankly. Trying to go at it alone right now, you have zero chance. I would tell you to not bet college basketball if you're not going to bet with an expert or something like that, because
or be just betting.
At least wait a month, or just at least wait a month and then try and figure it out.
I couldn't believe it this year. We saw teams scrimmaging other teams, and they're showing. I watched Michigan Cincinnati play. They both scored 100 plus. That Michigan team's good, by the way. Cincinnati, I think, is going to be pretty good as well.
Cincinnati is going to be much better. I think that their chemistry is going to be much better. I like how those pieces fit together. They have the size, and they have a little better guard play, I feel like.
Jizzle James, having to kick him off for personal reasons is going to hurt them early, because he wasn't he's not a guy that you were you had to worry about his scoring, although some games he would get you 17, 18. He just ran the floor, was great on defense, just steady, they built for this year, and then to have to release him.
But get him out of here. But that's what I'm saying. Get him out of there from a chemistry standpoint. That can be much better. I want to see that freshman. What is it, the Israeli freshman that they have, Shona Bayev or something like that? Heard really good things about that kid. I like the way that this team is put together, and I think that they're going to be more efficient. They lost guys who put up some good numbers, but they weren't very efficient offensively last year. So, we'll see.
It's a do or die year for Wes Miller. He kept his job by the skin of his teeth. Last year I think they started 5-1 or 5-0, and they got ranked. And the expectations, probably the worst thing for him. The expectations went through the roof, and then rest of the year it was they had a couple big wins, but a lot of just the Big 12 was a lot of that.
Oh my God, the Big 12 is a meat grinder, man. The Big 12 is awesome.
Like right when you think a team's going to like go on a run, they win like 6 in a row, and all of a sudden they lose 3 in a row because they play Kansas, Iowa State, and
right.
Like,
Texas Tech,
It's like, geez. So I think it's going to be the same this year. I think the SEC and the Big 12 are just going to be top to bottom. There's just you look, you can't find guaranteed wins, which is just that makes it a tough season. I do think the ACC is still down.
It is. The ACC is.
I think Duke's really good, but after Duke, I just don't know.
A lot of question marks all over that league. Like Louisville right now is supposed to be the number 2. I can't wait to see that kid, Malik Brown. I think it is their freshman point guard, who is supposed to be awesome. I want to see if Keyshawn Pryor, who got hurt, they went 27-3 last year. Keyshawn Pryor was a starter and like an X factor for them. He got hurt early in the season too. I want to see if he's back 100%, but I don't see, even if this freshman is as good as everyone says that he is, I don't see how they could lose what they lost last year and be better this season.
Unless the ACC is just that bad. Like that would be the
ACC, like you talk about question marks and like do or die seasons. I can think of so many coaches like Pittsburgh with Jeff Capel, Syracuse with Red Autry, Micah Shrewsbury at Notre Dame. He has one of the best backcourts in the country, including his kid. Wake Forest, like Steve Forbes, who I love, who I think is a great coach. He hasn't gotten them to the NCAA tournament. Like, how much more time do you give them? I'm hearing that Virginia Tech's coach, Mike Young there, like he might be on the hot seat as well. So there are a lot of hot seat coaches in the ACC. So it's going to be a very much a put up or shut up year for them. And one team,
Notre Dame, I heard like that's the one team I've heard like a lot of like, watch out for Notre Dame, like a lot of people. Interesting, I think.
Because they're guards. The 2 guards that they have are awesome. They combine to average like 37, 38 points a game
in a scrimmage, and my stepson goes there, and he was watching the Bidchuk kid, the really good point guard at Butler, and he was like, man, this team was really good. So you never know, because like it comes down to you got to win the close games, and there's going to be a lot of close games in the ACC in my opinion, because there's a lot of teams that are in that, just I don't say no man's land, but it is kind of no man's land, where they're not the top and they're not the bottom. So like, where do you stand? And that's how your coach gets fired. If you're at the top of the those teams, then you get to keep your job. If you're at the bottom in the ACC, you get fired.
Well, even the top isn't really the top. You mentioned Duke is going to be very good. We think Louisville is going to be very good. But that's kind of where it ends in terms of like this team is 100% going to the NCAA.
North Carolina would be it's the wild card.
They're still mediocre. Like this is not North Carolina that we are used to. Like top 10, like right up there with Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, like competing for national championships. It's like they're competing to make the NCAA tournament, and I can't even sit here and say that they are 100%.
That right there, you should be fired if you're at North Carolina.
If you're Hubert Davis, right? What's Will Wade gonna do at NC State? He brought a couple kids with him from McNeese. He got Darian Williams, the kid from Texas Tech, to come. Like they're a big buzz team, but he's an unknown. He's a first-year guy, and it's NC State. Like
I always worry, because that's a big jump. You go from McNeese State to freaking the ACC, even with ACC not being great. Because I don't like when you hire Will Wade, you're not just hiring him to be like in the NIT. I mean, you're competing to try to win the ACC. You're competing to try to win a couple games in the tournament. I don't know if McNeese State kids can jump that far. We'll see. We'll absolutely see.
The one of them was their leading scorer who got hurt last year, like 4 games in, but he is he was like preseason first team, whatever. The other one, Kadir Copeland, like he started at Syracuse. I love that guy. Like he just does everything well. Like he's not a superstar by any stretch of the imagination, but he's going to go out and get you 9 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 4 steals, be a pest defending the other team's point guard. Like his skills will translate, but how are they going to come together as a team? And then to your point, there's the mid-tier where it's like, is Wake Forest going to finish 12th or are they going to finish 5th? You know what I mean? Virginia, what's Virginia going to be this year? They're with Ryan Odom. They're going to more of an up-tempo pressing attack versus the Virginia that we've seen, under Bennett for the last 15 years. Like there's just a lot of unknowns. Who's Kyan Anthony in Syracuse? Syracuse has talent. They have some McDonald's All-American. This is probably their most talented team in the last 4 years. They got the transfer point guard, Nathan George, who's really, really good from Georgia Tech, but they don't have size. They don't have anybody on the roster over like 6'9" or 6'10". Donnie Freeman's the tallest guy. Like, is Syracuse gonna make
will the ACC get more teams in than, say, like the Big East? I don't think so. Like, I think the Big East will get more teams in. Like, I think St. John's, I think UConn is for real. Like Shaka,
Creighton, they just win.
Coaching. Speaking about coaching, McDermott and Shaka just continue to find ways to do it. So you have to think they're going to be right there. So those are 4 teams. I don't think they're getting 4 teams in. Probably pass more than 4 teams in from the ACC this year. At least as we see it now, there's a lot of movement. We'll see. I also think Big Ten is like a wild card year in Big Ten.
The Big Ten is really good because the Big Ten is really old. Okay, even teams like Illinois, right, who brought in a lot of freshmen, these freshmen have been playing professionally overseas. They brought in 2 or 3 guys that were playing professionally in Eastern Europe that are now 21, 22-year-old freshmen, right? So they're older. Ohio State, a lot of age. You mentioned Michigan earlier today. Michigan has grown-ass men on that team. They're just older, top to bottom in the Big Ten. You just have
Michigan State, Michigan State, the Richardson kid, I thought should have stayed. But
yes.
You didn't. If he would have come back, I thought they would have been. They maybe could have won the Big Ten. I think they'll not win the Big Ten, but they'll beat. It's Tom Izzo.
I released my 8-unit futures play, which is available today, is on team to win the Big Ten, and it's a 3-tiered kind of structured bet that's pretty much guaranteed to earn a profit. It's just a matter of how much we're going to win. But that's still available and will be available until midnight tonight. You should still be able to bet those futures plays. But I'm big on the Big Ten. I'm 100% going to be fading Michigan State. I think that last year.
How many years has it been since the Big Ten won championship? 2002, right? Isn't it the Mateen Cleaves team is the last time?
Which was 2000.
So 25 years.
Yes.
The Big Ten Conference has not won a championship. That is, I'm 50.
It's
That's
insane.
Half my life.
It's insane.
By first half of my life, you had the Big Ten dominated as far as, the big, it's just.
Well, just like in football, they are going to be the bigger beneficiaries of the NIL stuff because huge colleges, a lot of wealthy donors come from Big Ten because, it's funny. They always used to knock, the SEC and Big Ten always had that thing, that rivalry in sports, right? And the SEC was always probably better in sports, but the Big Ten was our academic standards are higher, we're better colleges. That's starting to pay off a little bit more because going to those better academic schools, getting better jobs, you have more wealthy donors who are now funneling more money back in. That's the problem with a school like Alabama, right? Big school, they don't have a ton of wealthy donors that go through the pipeline of Alabama academics. And so that's why they're kind of lagging. And the Big Ten has made the strides that they have in both football and basketball now that we're in this NIL era.
It's paid off in football, that's for sure. It hasn't paid off in basketball as of yet. Now we're still at an infancy stage when it comes to the NIL. And because it seems like there's still these because in basketball you don't need that many players. That's just facts. You only need 2-3 players to really turn your program around. And someone asked here, Scott B, about Ohio State covering you. Have any?
Scott, by the looks of it, you got enough other bets that you can sit back and take a look at this Ohio State one. No, I'm not going to play that. I like Ohio State this year, but I think that number's 33.5. And this is exactly what I was talking about with Craig earlier. How sharp are those numbers? Yeah. Those spreads between 20 and 30. How sharp are those numbers going to be? Is Ohio State just going to go out and win by 50 tonight, which they could?
Robert, don't you think there's going to be the haves and have-nots in this range where it's going to be teams just kill them, or it's a 3-point game, or even get beat early in the season?
No, that's the thing. There's always those opening night shockers, right? Where a team that's favored by 20-something either loses or come close. I just don't see how that's realistically going to happen with some of these mid-major teams that, again, brought back, 2% of their scoring and 3% of their rebounding, and they're facing a team that's ranked in the top 25. I just think that that's maybe, unfortunately, one of the negatives is more talent polarization in college basketball, where like
the gaps are bigger.
The gaps are way bigger. Where
Should
between 2015 and 2023, let's say, that gap shrunk. That's why we saw 16 seeds beating 1 seeds. And that's why we saw more mid-majors, Florida Atlantic making Final Fours and stuff like that. That gap was shrinking across college basketball as the style changed to more of a perimeter-oriented, skills-oriented game than like size and athleticism. Well, NIL has laid waste to that. Now it's back to like the 1990s almost, where all the talents at the top teams, if you're a mid-major team and it's
the college basketball before they had college football before they had the scholarship, where you just went and got as many players as you could. It didn't matter. 5-star, we got 5 of them, get 1 more. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
And then now they had the limitation on scholarships, and then they had to spread them out. It spread everybody out. It's kind of like that, because if you're like, hey, I can get an NIL guy from just say UMass, and he's their leading scorer. Well, we really don't need him. Well, we could use him on the bench. What if somebody gets hurt?
Right. He'll help us in practice.
If you can find the money too, which like if you're Arkansas that has 4 donors that are basically told Calipari, whatever you cost, we'll pay it. That's going to change. Like now, I mean, he's never really won with talent. I mean, he won 1 at Kentucky. That's what people just don't remember. Yeah. He won once with Kentucky. Correct. And you look at the NBA, it is filled with Kentucky players that he coached. And not like SGA. He wasn't that great at Kentucky. Look what he is now. He's the best player in the league, or at least top 3. So it's like, it doesn't mean you're going to win, but it does give you a lot better chances if you have more of them. Sure. So I do say NBA tonight, I think it's a little crazy in the NBA tonight. We're at that point in the NBA season where we've got a little data under us that you're going to start seeing a lot, like, Minnesota's favored by double digits. Knicks are favored by double digits. Celtics favored by double digits. Houston's favored. Denver. There's half of the games tonight are double digits, and a lot of the other ones are like 8. I kind of like the Heat tonight plus 8.5. I kind of like the over in that game a little bit. FYI, the Miami Heat, they can't stop a lot of people, but they can score. Which is kind of weird. I don't know if Powell's playing tonight. I wish he was, because, of course, he was from the Clippers. He played there a long time, so I think that would be interesting. But he didn't play last night in LA, so I'm guessing probably not playing tonight. But, for people that want it the NBA.
Yeah, Griffin has a 7-unit play that I really like tonight in the NBA. Strike Point Sports has a 7-unit play that I love tonight. The game I'm kind of keeping my eye on, not on a ton of people's radars, I suppose, but that Utah-Boston game, right? Like, Utah came out, played well in their first 3 games. Then they got bombed. They just lost by like 25 to Charlotte or whatever. Like, we know Boston's not very good, but we know they're going to battle. They're kind of built more for that underdog role, I feel like. How are they going to handle being a double-digit favorite against a team that they should beat? What's the pace?
The last few years, Boston would have beat this team by 30.
Right.
That's just the type of team they had. They were so deep. Like, people just don't realize what they lost. Porzingis, I don't think that actually hurt them at all. But Luke Cornett was their backup center. He's gone too. So it's like you lost, and Al Horford, you lost all your centers.
Yeah, Horford was a huge one.
And then you don't have your best player.
Huge one. Drew Holiday, huge one.
Drew Holiday, if you watch the Olympics, was the best defender on the court every game. Like, he basically, what's the other Boston Celtics guy? The other guard.
Nice. Thank you, Joe Beef.
Like, they both were on the court all the time. White, because these guys can defend at a high level. So you take one guy off like that, it makes a big difference. I do think the Utah has a ton of talent. They just don't know what they're doing. Like, they are literally the baby deer trying to run for the first time.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not crazy to think that they could win this game or throw a scare into Boston, because that makes perfect sense for Utah and basically NBA betting in a nutshell, right? Like, they lose by 25 to Charlotte, and then they beat Boston, right? Like, it's Thunderdome. That's Thunderdome.
Other than Marketing, he's the only guy that's like, really got true
caliber
experience.
Player. Yeah.
That even has that experience to, like, okay, he's got great talent and he's put it together as he's already been an all-star. But it's like, rest of these guys, we've seen it on nights they're unbelievable. We've seen it, if you lose to the Hornets by double digits, like, you have to question your manhood a little bit. But
yeah.
So there's tons of haves and have-nots to be careful.
That was the last one. I wrote it up and then I crossed it off. I took a play on the total in that game, but I wanted to take Utah, but I didn't have the stones to. But I kind of like them, and that's a game I'm just going to watch just to get more information on both of these teams. Again, the Celtics are 2-5 against the spread in their 7 games. The Jazz are 4-2.
The Celtics have
they
beat the Cavs and the Sixers at Philly, I believe. Yet then you look at the losses and it's just like that's going to be this Boston team where they can beat anybody and they can get beat by anybody, and people have to adjust to that because they remember what Boston was the last few years. That's not that Boston team anymore. It's not saying they don't have talent. It's just like the talent sitting over on the bench with the torn Achilles or a rebuilt Achilles that
they're just they are a pure fade for me until the market corrects on them. And again, seeing them as a double-digit favorite tonight, they shouldn't be laying doubles to pretty much anyone. I gotta see them do that. I gotta see them cover a number like this before I would ever consider laying it. But you're right. The odds are still being posted like they're the team they were 3 years ago. And bettors, I feel like you're still flocking to them a little bit like the team they were 3 years ago. And they're just not. That's why they're just a pure fade for me.
Yeah, Lakers on a back-to-back tonight. They're 5-2 straight up and against the spread, 3-point underdog. Portland's been a pretty good team. They already beat them, I think, once too.
Yeah, they've been a little fight. Portland's been a little feisty. They've been a little.
I thought that young team. I thought that distraction of the Chauncey Billups thing might affect them. Maybe it pulled them together because since then they've played even better. And they have a ton of talent. Like what happens when you're bad in the NBA? You get good draft picks, and sometimes those draft picks take a few years to develop. And they have some talent there, so it'll be interesting tonight. Luka has been skinny. Luka, I will say. Fun to watch. Dude is like, if you have to play one-on-one, I don't think anybody can bet. I guess Wemby, him and Wemby, I'd love to. I would pay I'd pay $99 to watch them play one-on-one, like a best of 5 or something.
Wemby would kill him.
He should, but I don't know. Luka's so creative, the way he can. I mean, the guy's dunked one time in 24 months or something stupid.
Right.
And at his size, you would think that would be more often, even though he's not the most athletic. It's just like the guy knows how to use his body. It's the European, that European herky-jerky, just hard to guard. I still think they need to have a one-on-one tournament in the All-Star game instead of dunk contest because no one.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. That'd be great.
Imagine Steph Curry versus Wemby, where it's like, can Steph Curry get off jump shots? If he does, he's going to win. If not, Wemby's going to kill him.
Aaron, I have a 7-unit play in college basketball tonight that I really like. Really like.
You have 7-unit, like you said. There's a couple 7-unit in the NBA. I think one in NHL.
Yeah, Strike Point Sports has a 7-unit play that when I saw it, I was like, "Damn, that's right." They have a 7-unit prop play tonight too that I really like. Remember we didn't even really talk about this game. No Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett is getting and
the line didn't move.
Half a point. Like now you're locked on that 3, but. I mean, why would it? Frankly, the offense has been just as good. The passing offense has been better, and that's benefited different guys on that Arizona receiving core in terms of props, yards per game, stuff like that. Hint, hint, hint. I think they're going to be all right. And Dallas can't stop anybody.
Dallas defense, other than my Bengals.
Oh, my God. We didn't even talk about the Bears-Bengals game, bro. Oh, my God. I wanted to text you yesterday.
Anybody that had the Bengals plus the points, like you had to, when they scored so quickly, I was like, oh, they're going to at least kick a field goal. I mean, there was no way they were stopping. I didn't think they'd get the touchdown. I didn't think they'd get that. But I was like, there's zero chance. Hendrickson wasn't playing, FYI. It was like, unless he falls down and that's the only way
And that's the funny thing is if he had fallen down, if that guy kind of knocked him off balance, if he had stumbled forward and fallen, would they have been able to get to the line, snap it, and spike it Probably, but it's the Bears. They couldn't recover the onside kick. They gave up 2 touchdowns in 50 seconds. Like, we can't take anything for granted with them. Like, they're a functional
I saw
NFL
someone
team.
post, the stuff that happened in that game. I mean, they ran the kickback to start the game. They gave up a pick 6, right? So it was the things that happened in that game. It was like the bingo card. Other than a safety, you could have, it was
DJ Moore almost fumbled it out of bounds at that point. The touchdown that put them up 2 scores at 41-27 or whatever it was. He almost fumbled that out of bounds. That was that close to being, Cincinnati ball down a touchdown.
I mean, I was going to turn it off when they scored there. And I was like, I'm going to keep this up. See if the Bengals at least score. And then the onside kick, you never know. And Scott B,
I swear to God, I was thinking about you during that game. You did say bet it all on that. And listen, I got to give you credit. You won your bet, but holy God.
The Bengals team total has cashed The team they're playing has cashed every game since Joe Burrow has went down over.
Yeah,
the Green Bay game, they had to score them all in the fourth quarter, but it still went over. The Pittsburgh scored it all in the second half, still went over. The Bears, look how many points they scored.
They are about to tie a record. They've given up 29 or more points to an opponent 8 straight games. The NFL record is 9 straight. And I don't even know who they're playing next, but they're not holding anybody under 30.
Unless they play the Browns is the only chance. And it's because the Browns don't even try to score.
Well, and the Bears, like, what were they doing defensively? Like, they kept just rushing 4 and dropping guys back, even though it was blatantly obvious that, like, you can't cover T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like, the only hope you have is blitz 2 guys and hope that something bad happens.
If you said Joe Flacco was going to put up these kinds of numbers, I'd be like, no. I thought he was going to be better than Browning because he wasn't going to turn the ball over, but I did not think he would put up these kinds. I mean, he's putting up video game numbers, and they're losing. Like, they really should have lost to Pittsburgh too, by the way. They gave up, that late touchdown, and they had to come back and score late. So it's like they've done this in this run. Like Green Bay,
they are such. There's both of those.
How do these coaches keep you can't fire Al Golden. He just got there. So you can't blame.
How do you justify keeping him though?
But you can't keep Zach Taylor, in my opinion. Like, I just think because what do you say to this team that you're once again, last year they're the best offense in the league. The second part of the season, they're the best offense in the league without Joe Burrow at times this year. You can't win games. Like, I don't know. I just the Bengals don't fire coaches during the regular season usually, but I do think it might be time. I don't know. His greatest excuse though is my best player is on the bench. So, like, what do you want me to do? Like, if we had Joe Burrow, we had won yesterday. I don't think so because I still think the defense would have found a way to lose.
Yeah.
But the Bears, they're not going anywhere because I think
they're a mess too. Listen,
Detroit lost too. So
Ben Johnson still has a lot. Like, I know Ben Johnson criticizes the Bears for this and the Bears for this. Ben Johnson has a long way to go before he is like a baseline competent NFL head coach. Like, the collapse late in that game with defensively, them not like those guys not having any clue on the onside kick recovery team, like that guy not having any idea. Like, those are the amount of penalties that the Bears have. They're one of the most penalized offense in the league. Like, that is stuff that if it happens on another team, I'm looking at the head coach and I'm like, this is a discipline problem. This is a poorly coached team. He is a rookie head coach, so I'm willing to give him leeway. I think he can develop there. But like, people, I texted after Flacco scored to take the lead, to take the 42-41 lead. I was like, I can't wait for everyone to blame this loss on Caleb Williams tomorrow, right? When it's like, you're a poorly coached team right now. Like,
he played good. I still think, like, at times the guys are wide open. Like, just get him the ball because the Bengals can't tackle. All you got to do is don't get sacked. Get the ball. It's like they have like double the missed tackles of the next lowest team. Like, it's crazy how bad the missed tackles. So it's like, get the ball out of your hands to your game player, and it's like, at least against the Bengals, it's going to be the difference of the winning the game. He's got to do that. I think quicker decisions. Still, I still saw that.
Sure,
Bengals have no pass.
He's a second year quarterback who's 8 games into a new system. Like,
the crazy thing is, I gave a parlay yesterday. It was over pass and rush totals for Caleb Williams. Of course, he crushed. And I said we parlay that with a Dunze because I thought against the Bengals, he was going to be wide open. And that could be one pass. He didn't hurt the Bengals. They didn't really throw it. I think 3 or 4 times they threw it to him. He didn't hurt it to him. They just, like I said, they just check it down and let teams just, let the Bengals just do what they do.
Well, my 7-unit play was on Colston Loveland over yesterday, over 23.5 yards. He had 118. Like, Cincinnati has been the worst team in the NFL against tight ends. They've given up 12 touchdowns to tight ends. They've given up the most receptions. And I think by now,
is it this week, the trade deadline?
The most yards. Yes. Yep.
So it will be interesting if the Bengals, it sounds like Trey Hendrickson's won it out there at several teams. If the Bengals and the Raiders, I think is also what's his name?
They're not trading Max Crosby.
Like, I don't think he wants to leave, but if there's a winning team that said Max, like, I think it would be harder for him to say no.
I don't think it has anything to do with him. They're not going to trade him.
Really?
Yes.
By the time,
I mean,
it's kind of like Myles Garrett.
You'd have to get the same package that you got for Micah Parsons for him, like 3 number 1 picks or something.
He's
like
a little older than Micah, so maybe not.
Sure,
like Myles Garrett, same thing with like these guys aren't going to be top flight players by the time these teams are good. So to me, it's like, why are you know?
But there's also only so many teams that can take on that salary too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
sure.
you gotta make the numbers work as well. That's why I always say like the trade deadline is, you know, a lot of talking about trade scenarios and potential moves and we should do this, we should do that, and then nothing happens. Like you'll get some piddly shit along the edges, but there's not going to be like seismic moves in the NFL at the trade deadline. It's just not that type of league.
There's been more lately, so and people like, you know, the rumors definitely have always flown, but it's like the last couple of years we've seen some, you know, not
guys are a little more aggressive. Yeah, some general managers.
The Rams going after and winning the Super Bowl that year, I think made everybody else like, oh, see, they won a Super Bowl, so we can do that too. So if you're in that where you're like, you know, you're one of those top flight teams and you can add a big name player, it's at least the
you see what Micah Parsons has done with Green Bay, the Christian McCaffrey trade. Like that's the thing. There are those outlier big trade deals that do pay instant dividends, but they're still fewer and far between.
It's easier to trade running backs or guys because they don't make a lot of money compared to like it's hard trading defensive end, offensive lineman, quarterbacks because, you know, like you said, trying to fit them under the salary cap, you have to send out a lot of money sometimes. And, you know, is the other team willing? Although if it's an expiring contract, maybe. So I don't think the Bengals are going to trade, but I would be. If I'm the Bengals, I would be trying to trade him. I just think, obviously, their defense, he didn't play yesterday, but
trade everyone on that defense for draft picks. Everyone. Every single defensive player, just trade for draft picks. And when they go out to play their next game, just don't put any defenders on.
The problem is the Bengals offensive line has been so bad the last couple of years. They keep drafting offensive linemen or some of their capital to try to get to try to protect Joe Burrow. But at some point, you're like, dude, it doesn't matter. If we don't have a defense, we're doing all this for nothing. We can be the best offense in the league. We got to at least be able to slow teams down. I thought this year they might be able to get some turnovers. They haven't even that's their only chance. The only chance of stopping teams is if the other team just throws it to them. Or
like between the Bengals, the Cowboys we're going to see tonight, you know, Miami had their little – there are some the Giants who gave up 34 points again to like skeleton. There are some like hilariously bad defenses in the NFL. Right.
Which is crazy because the amount of talent and speed and like that is in college football. So you would think be like, hey, listen, we're not going to keep these guys because we saw what they were. Let's get rid of them and just bring in free agents or into the draft kind of guys that, hey, and we'll try to develop these guys. It has been a disaster on defense on some of these teams this year. Not that we expected defenses to. It's an offensive age of football. Like, to stop teams now is hard.
It's hard. But you watch that Denver-Houston game yesterday, right? Like 2 top 5 defenses. Like it is still possible to play really good defense. That looked like it was from
another Nick Minkin, era. By the way.
What's that?
Nick Minkin. He had, I know his big game was on Houston yesterday. So tough. If quarterback goes down in the first quarter, and they still had a chance. They had like a million chance. They stopped Denver a million times.
Yes.
All they need is a field goal. And they can't even they couldn't even get the ball over midfield.
Such a cheap shot on that hit too. Like that was brutal. Mark, I would stay away from that Pitt game. I'm selling Pitt this year. That was one of my last ones off the card. I will say I don't love Youngstown State. They only brought back one starter, but I just don't trust Capel. You know, they lost Jalen
That's
Lowe,
pretty close,
point
by the
guard,
way.
to
Youngstown
Kentucky.
State to Pitt is really close, by the way. So that's like
right.
Very close.
In-state rivalry game type of thing. Like I like Cal tonight too against Cal State Bakersfield, but I lowered the unit rating on that play because you know this is the Super Bowl. This is the NBA Finals for the Cal State Bakersfield kids to take on the big in-state school. You got a little bit of that going on with Youngstown State. You know they had this game circled, and they're probably going to take it a little bit more seriously with Pitt. Again, I just think losing Jalen Lowe was such a big loss because he did everything for them last year that, I don't know who Pitt is this year. So let's be patient with college basketball.
I've been super disappointed with Capel, by the way. Like Capel is like, I like what he does. I like his offense. It's just like he's had a million chances, like we've seen him where he's been, and it's just like he hasn't taken that next step.
Well, they were another team. Like, didn't they start like 12-1 or something like that last year? And they,
they got ranked. They were like up to like 19th or something, 18th.
Yeah. Like, and they were good. Good veteran team, great point guard, like no excuses, and then completely fell apart. You can't look at that and not say that it's not the coaching. So
I mean, if you would have told me the ACC was going to be this blah ever in my lifetime, and when it comes to basketball, I'd be like, ain't no way.
Right.
Like, this is the blue bloods of, like, I mean, obviously Duke, North Carolina, but it's like, like NC State and the Jim Valvano. It's like, they all have had their run in there. And, like, I thought Virginia, when Tony Bennett won a championship, what was that, 5 years ago? 4?
Little more recent than
6?
That. Well, 21-22, wasn't it?
So, I mean, and now, like, they didn't make the tournament last year. Now, granted, he's not there, but, like, it's just like, you can really fall fast. So be careful.
It is weird how far the ACC has fallen off the pace in football and in basketball. Like, to your point, if you were to tell me that there was a conference that got 13 teams into an NCAA tournament, which conference is it? I would have been the ACC. Had to have been, right? No, it's the SEC. And now heading into this year, the ACC is a distant 4th. And to your point about the Big East, arguably 5th in terms of conference strength heading into this season. Not good times for the old ACC.
And it doesn't make sense either because they do have a pretty big money. Like the basketball money for ESPN is a big deal. Like, it's like, because they had to secure the Duke and the North Carolina, they get the these big money TV deals. It doesn't make sense. Now the football makes sense because they actually don't have that great a deal when it comes to football.
But again, the economics of basketball compared to college football are not even in the same stratosphere. We were talking about this last week. They're talking about at Kentucky. Oh, if we fire for football, if we fire Stoops, the buyout's like $75 million or something like that. At North Carolina, blue blood college basketball program, the buyout for Hubert Davis is like $6 million. Yes. Like, it doesn't take as much money. We mentioned it. Go out and buy 2 good players and you've transformed your starting 5, right? It just doesn't take as much in basketball. And that's why I don't understand why the ACC is lagging so far.
I think one of the problems that the big schools have, and it's worked with Duke, so you can't really argue about Duke, but that you're always trying to hire the legacy, like the kids that played for Dean Smith and the, like the Matt Doherty that they brought. Like, it's, Wes Miller, from Cincinnati was the runner up to Hubert Davis, like, because he played there, like there, I think it was a walk on there. So, like, I mean, I think sometimes we get they're too focused on that. Like, Virginia Tech wants back Beamer, his son. Like, be careful, that has not necessarily worked. We'll see, but I think that can be a problem. And I think if Hubert Davis doesn't turn it around, I do think North Carolina might look outside for once, just because it hasn't worked enough in a row now that you're like, okay, maybe we should try something different. The equation. Not saying they're going to hire a Duke guy or anything, but they're, you go outside of the box a little bit. All right, so that's what we gave you, a ton of information today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Well, we won't be. Tony, George, and Griffin, and I believe Lenny tomorrow on Doc's Daily, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard, or 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Saturdays, Lenny and Griffin does it at 11, talking all college football, so you can do a lot of Q&As. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and get in on all of our top plays over at the website. Robert has a 7-unit, NBA 7-unit plays. Big prop tonight. I do think there's an NHL up there, maybe.
Pretty sure there's a Doc's. Doc is like 13-1 with their last 14 NHL plays. Like,
but it's all on the board there. So it's like, it's like we listed.
Take that free 60. There was one guy in there said he was down, needed a winner tonight. Take that free 60 in the link, go down, get 2 of those top plays, and we'll get you squared away.
Yep, there you go. So use this link right here if you want to get in on that. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Good luck.